gonna be alright, yeah. Start of a brand new day. It's the start of a brand new day. Start of a brand new day.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn channel. I'm Michael Tucker with Conversion Store, and just coming to you with another event that we're going to be doing in the month of June and this time it's on introduction to programmatic advertising. And there's a lot of marketers that are out there that have done all sorts of different types of advertising and promotional campaigns. And programmatic, for some reason, is one of the more elusive ones for those of us that are in the B2B world. In my spot, looking at it from marketing automation, but it's a heavily used channel, and it's an area that I think is something that a lot of marketers would be interested in learning more about. So, in that spirit of helping to empower local marketers, with our digital marketing meetups, I've invited a couple of different people who are experts, who are active in our community, to be able to share their experience about working in programmatic advertising for all sorts of different types of industries, whether you are in B2B, B2C, or e-commerce, or you're doing other types of marketing, your business or your product or services centered in a different area. Let's unpack a little bit more about this tactic and what we can do with it. If you are interested in joining us in our live event that will be happening here in the Charlotte area, it will be on June the 18th at 6 p.m. I'm still working on venues and locations to basically finalize that, but we're opening up the registration page now just so that you can understand a little bit more. And so to that end, I want to introduce a couple of our guests here and basically talk a little bit about what their presentation is going to be on the 18th. If you want additional information about this, feel free to follow us on our YouTube channel, on our LinkedIn channel. Digitalmarketingclt.com is our website in order to be able to reach both of those different venues. And that's also where you'll be able to sign up for this event as well too. So starting off, I'm going to bring in Brian Hare, who is at Norex. And Brian, welcome. Thanks for agreeing to join us. And can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Norex, and then about your experience with programmatic advertising at a high level?
Of course, yes. Thank you, Michael. Over at Norex, I am the Principal Solutions Architect. Norex is a cross-channel execution platform that utilizes its own DSP, demand-side platform. You'll learn more about that. That specifically you can execute in the open web programmatic space. And when I say open web programmatic space, it's the traditional programmatic channels that you're used to: display and banner ads on websites, online video, the video player playing in the corner of your website, CTV, podcast advertising, native advertising, all these different channels filtered together as the open web programmatic. So my history is in programmatic, around that biddable media, utilizing the proper audiences to ensure you're getting in front of the right person, regardless of where they're consuming their media. And ultimately, one of my favorite parts about programmatic is how it can be very math driven and very data driven, statistics driven. The idea is you're going to have a huge amount of impressions. You're going to understand what's working where based on how you're segmenting, and ultimately using programmatic as an efficient way to get your ads out there, but also to ensure that you are learning more about your efforts when it comes to things like copy, images, all these different pieces. So yes, programmatic has become kind of the ugly stepchild of the advertising industry, but that doesn't mean it's not still very effective. And I'm excited to show off what you can do with programmatic and how it can get you where you need to be with your own advertising efforts.
Oh, that sounds excellent. Okay, well, we're glad to have you, and so glad that you are here in the Charlotte area to be able to share your knowledge and expertise with us. And I'd also like to take this moment to introduce Marianne and Marianne Kiribu with Prefect Ads. Marianne is also an expert in the programmatic advertising space, and you work with a specific niche of advertisers, don't you, inside of your space? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and your experience with programmatic, and that the particular corner of the programmatic world that you're involved with?
Yeah, certainly. And hi, it's good to be here. So I currently am the head of onboarding at Preflect, and we are a platform that helps you automate your ads, specifically working with Shopify users to run your ads via Meta and Google. And this is an AI-powered platform, like I said. So a lot of the process that you would have to do the setup in Meta, understanding how Ads Manager works, a lot of things that I hear from a lot of e-commerce business owners that they don't enjoy or know how to do. Our app actually allows you to bypass all of that and have your ads running and be able to manage the data in one space. We also do run ads for Google, so that also fits in part of the funnel. And I'll be looking forward to explaining more about that, how that works when your marketing goals are set, and how the budget would be automated for you. And to touch on more of what I do at Preflect is essentially whenever people sign up for the platform, I'll be one of the people that you'd be speaking to, and I'm the one that helps you understand how our platform works. I also am able to provide some enhanced support on the back end of Meta Ads, because we've seen that this has been a struggle for a lot of people, just understanding how the Ads Manager, the Business Manager plays in, and then of course helping you understand the different types of best practices and things that go into running these kinds of ads, specifically for Meta and Google, but they can also be applied to other channels too. And like Brian said, data is something that we do focus on, making sure that you're getting better and more accurate data.
That's excellent. There's so many areas about this level of advertising, and I must confess to you, I really don't do a lot of it inside of, us in the marketing automation space. We see the leads that are coming in from different types of promotional channels, but they vary. They come in from websites and field marketing and webinars and SEO, as well as programmatic and paid advertising. And I think it kind of speaks to the variety of different choices that marketers have when they're working through their marketing plans and their promotional plans. And so I'd really like to start off with a question to both of you before we get into kind of the nuances. This is just a precursor. If you are interested in coming out to the event, for anybody that's here, join us on June the 18th to be able to come to this event that we'll be hosting here in the Charlotte area. And we'll have some online resources around that as well too. But for people that maybe aren't in Charlotte or can't make it to that particular event and just want to understand, can I use programmatic advertising in my business? Could either of you talk a little bit about maybe maybe start, Marianne, with you about the pre-qualifications that you need to be able to go in and start doing a programmatic campaign? Can I start this on the first month of my business, or do I need to wait, 6 months, or do I need to have a certain amount of customers or a certain budget, or maybe have, sold X amount of widgets for my company before I can start using this? Like, what's the base level if you just want to get into this for the first time?
Oh, that's a great question, Michael. So this is something I talk about all the time. It's the most important thing to have when you begin with, as we mentioned, is data. And how do you get this data? If you haven't made any historic sales, there's not going to be enough data to generate those value-based lookalike audiences that will help you better target and, obviously lead to hopefully better results for your marketing efforts. So for someone that's just starting out, I would always advise that you build your organic marketing first if you haven't had any sales before really delving into something of this level, unless you're willing to test and have more of a budget to go around, because it could take a longer time to get your results. And for Preflect, we look at about 300 sales in a 12-month period is a good way that our system would be able to fire up and build those audiences for you.
Okay, great. And Brian, kind of switching to your perspective as well. Then, right, you're dealing. It's interesting to see, having had a tour of your software product, the scope, I'd say, of different different types of marketing and advertising campaigns that you're able to do with clients. What do you see a pattern in terms of the type of clientele that you're typically working with around this topic?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, programmatic, again, open web programmatic, I'm focused on. It is something that usually isn't at the forefront of teams that are deciding to execute their paid media through advertising, because, hey, we know Meta, we know Google. Those are the names that ultimately, as marketers, we're thinking about on a daily, if not hourly basis. So when it comes to the, focusing on display and focusing on CTV, it's something that anyone can jump into the deep end with. But similar to what Marianne said, you really need to have the data to feel confident about what you're driving when it comes to conversions. And that can be conversion based, similarly to what Marianne said, building out lookalike audiences. But it can also, if you understand your market and you understand the individuals that you are selling to, definitely something that you can open up from day one and utilize to better test and understand what's working, what's not. The efficiencies of the open web programmatic space really allows for getting impressions out there and understanding who's clicking, who's converting, who is engaging, things like that. So if you feel confident that you can segment your audiences exactly as you want to, and you can create your display ads and your CTV ads in a way that really can speak to these audiences, and you're ready to test with various headlines and call to actions, things like that, it's going to be available to you. But typically we see teams really start with those walled gardens, the biddable media within Meta and Google, and then looking to open up programmatic after the fact. So again, you could do either. I've seen successes on both sides. It just has everything to do with your appetite for the advertising side, and just understanding what kind of guardrails you want to put up to ensure that you aren't spending an entire budget in hours or in a few days. So I think that it's something from my end, if we're talking about individuals who do think about that programmatic space, it's something that anyone who's had any time in it can really speak to your individual use case. So, if that's with myself at Norix, wonderful. If that's with, anyone else that you might know, can really hone in and make sure that what works for you is going to, work within the effort. So.
Okay. This might seem like a bit of a silly question from your perspectives, having both worked in this for a while, but can you, there are a lot of marketers out there who have never worked in programmatic. Maybe they're even unfamiliar with the term. And if you could talk a little bit more about, so, you are in essence getting some type of a display ad or some sort of an ad served to your target audience. But to a lot of us who are kind of centered around pay-per-click ads, or what Facebook and Google and LinkedIn and some of the other social media and the paid advertising platforms are kind of used to. What makes a programmatic ad different? Like, what is a programmatic ad at its very fundamental level compared to some of the other channels that I'm describing here?
Yeah, I would say that important thing about programmatic, it's biddable media. So while open web programmatic is a specific side of the biddable media, it's important to understand that the walled gardens also run programmatically. What you're doing in Facebook Business Manager and what you're doing in your MCC account, you are running programmatic ads. You're setting up bids. You're monitoring, you're adjusting those bids. When there is high traffic or there's high demand, your bids will go up. When there's less traffic, your bids will go down. So when we think about programmatic, typically teams will automatically go to that open website, CTV and display and things like that. But programmatic it's just biddable media. So yes, again, you should always look to consider those walled garden efforts. But teams that really are looking to expand into that open web programmatic area, it's just, it's available to teams, and it's something that can be utilized properly, especially when you are thinking about it from the entire scope of your marketing efforts.
Okay, great. Okay, well, just coming back then to our session, it will be June the 18th, and so we're looking forward to having you here again. Location to be determined, but we're mark this out on your calendar right now. Can you give us a little bit of a preview about what you'll be talking about during this session, above and beyond kind of what we've talked about in this recording, Marianne?
Of course. So during my presentation, I'll be sharing with you what our platform actually does, because we have a lot of really cool tools that and some that we're actually working on. I can't share them yet, but they will be ready in time for June. And it's going to be able to allow somebody who has a lot of people we work with don't have a huge team. Some people have a big in-house creative team. Others are solopreneurs or, just a couple people, and they may not know what types of creatives to test. So we have tools that I'll be able to show you that can automate that process for you. And, touching on something that Brian mentioned earlier about testing variants, there's a lot of automation that can help guide you. So you're taking away the guesswork, and I'll be covering a lot of that. And of course, things which are so important for a lot of people to know that they may not know, starting out as specifically on the meta side of things, making sure that you're in alignment with policies and understanding best practices and how to navigate the whole online digital ads in the iOS 14.5 privacy law updates, and how you can, understand the data that comes in when your ads are running as well.
Great. And Brian, from your side of things?
For my end, again, focusing on that open web, but really, how you understand the display efforts, the CTV efforts, and how they are driving down funnel conversions and engagement, things like that. Ultimately, showing that, again, while you may not click on a display ad and then decide to buy something on a Shopify website, there are ways to better understand those display ads that you did see at the start of your buying journey, how they influence your eventual purchase at the bottom of the funnel. So really understanding your omni-channel advertising efforts and how programmatic can play a role within that.
Okay, excellent. All right, everybody. Well, for more information, come and visit us. Come to the event on the 18th, and look forward. Thank you both for being able to share your experiences with us. And we're looking forward to seeing you all there again on the 18th. And this is another just insight that we're bringing to you from our digital marketing meetups here in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're interested in sharing a little bit more about your product or what you do inside of the digital marketing landscape, please feel free to visit us. Our website is conversionstore.com is my website for my business, but our website for the community is digitalmarketingclt for Charlotte.com. And thank you again both for being able to share your expertise. And with that, we'll head off, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
It's the start of